Let's get to, I guess, the story of the night, at least on the ice. Bobby Brink and Olle Lycksell also. It appears both were benched for the entirety of the third period. I wanted to bring up the so Bobby Brink comes off the ice after a minute 23 shift, which is a hell of a long shift. At the end of the second period, 2:15 left in the second period. The Capitals had just scored to make it 3-2 on a wraparound. John Tortorella, as Brink is coming on the bench, gives him an earful. Was not happy with his effort on the play. Wanted him to crash down and prevent the wraparound goal. He was not aggressive enough. Now, I agree. He could have read the situation better and, just be more aware, in-game awareness, come down, make a play, prevent a goal. Also, there's 4 guys on that one side of the ice, all puck watching, and Brink wasn't like, oh, yeah, I should make it 5 guys below the dot, and now open up the entire rest of the ice, as we saw happen on, a couple of Flyers goals tonight, like the Owen Tippett power play goal. Okay, well, if everyone's over here, this is going to be a pretty easy play to make. Just throw the puck. But whatever. He wanted Bobby Brink to have done more on the play, I suppose. And he doesn't play again. Misses the entire third period, I believe, as did Lycksell. I am... trying to scroll here.
From what I heard, he did not.
Yeah, Lycksell also did not play again after the 2:15 mark. 2:15 left in the second period. Shortens the bench on a night. So you go with 10 forwards. One of them, of course, being Nick Delorier.
So
it does show, okay, well, Couturier gets the opportunity to come back into the top 9. He gets out there. He made a few plays, could have scored on one. Lindgren made a nice save, but really this Bobby Brink thing, it's the bad part of Tortorella. There's good and bad, and I like him holding dudes accountable. Do not get me wrong there. It's just I saw a lot of guys make mistakes tonight, but Bobby Brink is the one who sits because you have this preconceived notion about what you asked him to do in the AHL when he did get sent down. He also scored a goal tonight. In the third period, you're down a goal going into it. I don't know, probably needs some offense, and you take away one of your better offensive players. He's got goals in back-to-back games. I can't. If you want the Tortorella thing to work, you do kind of have to believe that he knows what he's doing in these situations. But there have been times this year and throughout his career where it's he thinks one thing and then goes back and watches the tape and is I might have been wrong about that. We heard Scott Hartnell tell a story recently. I think it was on a pod. I don't remember where, but he's just talking about his time in Columbus under Tortorella. Yeah. And Tortorella's benching him, not playing him in the late in the third period and stuff. And he just goes to him. He's like, why? Why are you doing it? And he's like, well, you did this, and you're blowing these coverages, and I just don't trust you defensively. And then he's like, show me. So they have the team. He tries to have his video team put together a package of all his defensive mistakes. And it wasn't very long. There wasn't this big number of huge mistakes he'd been making. And he's like, okay, yeah, all right, I was wrong about that. I still don't like you in the third period. I don't trust you, but I don't have any examples for you. And that's just kind of Tortorella. He does have his biases, and it seems as if one of them might be, maybe it's just young guys in general. I just don't have the patience for you. Mm-hmm. This is how I teach. And part of it just might be this is an offensive player I want more from defensively.
Yeah, it's interesting because before we came on here, someone commented on my tweet and said that Torch should just bench the whole team if that's the case. Because, yeah, like you said, there was a lot of players that weren't named Bobby Brink that also played bad on both sides of the ice. But it's such a tough spot to put Torch because, yes, you got to hold people accountable. You have to hold these players accountable. You have to play defense. And on that play, Bill, like Bill mentioned, that was a long shift that Bobby Brink played. But, yeah, I mean, it wound up in a goal. And unfortunately, that put the game tied up at that point. So it did put us in a tough spot. I do think that Torch is a little bit harder on the younger players. Obviously, we look back at the Morgan Frost situation, and we all see how that played out. And essentially, from what we know, it seems like it took a little argument in an office for Morgan Frost to finally get the consistent minutes. He's a top 6 forward right now here for the Flyers. So for right now, Bobby Brink, he's just going to have to, it feels like Bobby's just going to have to go through the blows with John Tortorella as well. He might have to go in his office and scream at him as well for what it looks like too.
Maybe. And listen, he does want the pushback from the guys. He also just wants the commitment to the 200-foot game. And you have to show those types of improvements in your game or effort, awareness, whatever he's looking for. I saw someone, and again, I wish I remembered who, but tweet out basically, it seems like Torts wants Brink to be Tyson Forster, who, even when he's not scoring, has been an excellent defensive forward this year. And yeah, you want that sort of effort out of guys. Also, some dudes just ain't that. Like, some guys you're not going to get a great defensive effort from. And when I say effort, I don't mean how hard they're trying. I just mean the results. Like, his defensive results will never be Tyson Forster's because he's just good at that. Like, so, and I don't know. I wish there was room for both. Like, a dude who's all defense will never get benched, and a guy who's all offense will always be held accountable. Like, scoring is the hardest thing to do.
Literally.
It just annoys me.
Well, I want to bring up something too, because this is what I thought about as well, because I do agree, like, you needed some offense, and it felt like at the end, because essentially, you are playing with 9 to 10 forwards, they did get a little gassed out there at the end. So, Bill, why not bench Brink tomorrow? Why not allow him play that third period? Obviously, grill him at that moment, but then just bench him tomorrow. And that at that point in benching him in tomorrow's game, you give him that lesson you want to give him.
That's when we were watching the end of the second period. You asked me, you think Brink plays in the third? I was like, they're down a goal. They need some offense. It's a back-to-back tomorrow. Cam Atkinson's been scratched a couple games. I think that's the play. I think if you want to send the message, you go, I need you the rest of this game, but you ain't playing tomorrow. And that's totally fine with me. If that's how you want to handle this situation, okay. But he also, I still think we're going to see Cam Atkinson tomorrow. I think this is like a $200 fine for a $5 crime. Like, he made a defensive mistake. And he also did have a turnover in the first period. It was funny. Turnover in the first period, Sam Ayerson makes a nice save to kind of clean up for it. Flyers go immediately down the ice, and that's when Brink scores. So it's like, all right, well, no harm, no foul. But like, maybe it was more a combination. Like, it wasn't just this one mistake. It was really the culmination. That's the word I'm looking for, of several things along the way. And then finally, Torts was like, I can't put you out there if I can't trust you. And again, I understand. It's just like, I don't know. I want to win these games. I want to win these games. Right. And the defense got no better with Bobby Brink out of the game. It's not as if everyone else was playing really good hockey tonight. And it like Cal Peterson against Pittsburgh. It's like, yeah, he lost us the game. That is the reason you lost. Bobby Brink is not the reason the Flyers gave up 5 consecutive goals
tonight.
Team
loss for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
We all silly like the mayor.